Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to this week's wrap-up. So we've had a pretty good week. We've had a few twists and turns, and we've seen some good movement. So we had a pretty flat start to the week, but things sure did gear up after the FOMC meeting that was early Thursday morning local time. Now, rates went up by 25 basis points, which was expected. But the message on inflation could be something that's starting to maybe turn a corner. Maybe it's a little bit too early to say that inflation is defeated, but they are saying now that deflation could have started, but we'll probably want to see a little bit more evidence of that. But definitely, it did give risk markets a nice boost, and we did see some very strong moves. So the Aussie dollar, the euro, and the pound. The pound was the weakest out of those main three, but we can see here these nice moves that we saw earlier in the week, and we'll get to yesterday in one moment. And we can see here the pound didn't really get going. It sort of tried, but didn't really get any real momentum going. And some of the other markets had some very nice moves. Was gold. We can see that single session here, and we can also see some of the stock indexes as well. They had some really strong moves higher. So the Dow has been in a bit of a funny place at the moment. So we can see the US 30 here. It tested this high, but it failed to hold that, and then it retreated. But the real star of the big three in the US was the Nasdaq, and we can see just how great this week has been so far for the NDX 100. And we can see at one stage, earlier in the session this morning, it was trading, 6% higher for the week, and we can see those main 3 days there of trade. So the futures are a bit lower at the moment. So the European indexes as well have continued to lead, really the way. We've seen some, really solid gains across majority of them. The CAC and the DAX, which is the German 30, continue to lead. We're getting back up to levels not seen sort of, since Feb 2022. The UK 100 has lagged a little bit after last week, but we can see here that it's had a decent week as well after that high was put in a couple of weeks ago, and that was a level nearly, getting very close to testing the highs set back in May of 18. So this rally has really performed very well, and you never discount any market, and European indexes have been a prime example of that of late, especially the DAX and the CAC recently this week with the Nasdaq. So the real driver behind the Nasdaq this week was Meta. So Meta's been in the news a lot recently, not for good reasons either. So a lot of negative press surrounding the company, but they did release some very positive forward guidance, and the picture looks a lot rosier there. So the market really took to that with a lot of strength, and really jumped on board, and we've seen how that's really impacted tech stocks, which have really been seeing a lot of bad news, a lot of news about layoffs, which does actually help price, but the Nasdaq definitely has made a charge back, and we can see as well that the SPX 500, which is the S&P, it also had a really nice charge this week. Levels got back up to close to the opening price that was set back on the 26th of the 8th, 2022. So it's had a very solid rally. Now, yesterday things did reverse. Now the dollar made a fight back overnight, and we did see a little bit of disappointment on the euro and the pound especially the euro after such a solid session. We saw some moves lower. So really that comes down to the statements from the central banks yesterday. So more interest rates are expected, interest rate rises are expected, but the message from the banks doesn't look to be seen as hawkish enough, and due to that, with a stronger USD, we saw prices weaken on the pound significantly and on the euro. So the pound has actually broken through this fast trend here after struggling at this resistance point for a fair period of time, and we've seen that break here, and sellers are trying once again, setting new weekly lows at this stage today. The euro, it didn't quite get back down to the bottom, but it wasn't really helped by the statement, it looks like, even though we did see that 50-point rate rise, and so it was the same situation on the pound with 50 points added. But I think the market was really expecting that those 50 points would be coming into play just with the inflation issues, especially in the UK. I think the last reading was 10.5%, so they do expect some action, and for now we'll have to continue to see what the message is regarding. It's a hard balancing act for the central bank of the UK at the moment, and really the Eurozone, but the UK probably a little bit more with the economy not doing well, and with rates going up too quickly and too in too bigger amounts that could really continue to damage and hurt the overall economy and just general people's day to day. But getting inflation down definitely is a key worry and does need to be addressed. So we'll have to see how what comments are coming out of the central banks moving forward from the ECB and from the Bank of England. But definitely yesterday, combined with a bit of disappointment there, we've seen a stronger USD sort of cut down those rallies. Now, oil and gold. So gold we just touched on before. It's had a strong week until yesterday when the dollar did recover. We did see the short-term resistance here at 1951.25, and it was a very big move down yesterday. It shed 1.95%, and this trend here also looks to have started to be tested as well by sellers. So we'll keep an eye on that with some key news coming out later. But if the dollar does get another boost, we are wondering if gold could break through this trend line that's been running really all the way back to this key bar here, which was on the 4th of the 11th last year. But we'll see if this support area here can hold up. There's been a lot of demand here for gold from 1903.17 all the way up to 1916, and above up to 1920.70 and this 0.78, even though we are seeing a bit of an encroachment there by sellers yesterday. Oil this week, it continues to drift lower. We're seeing it at 75 at the moment on USD, which tracks WTI as well. We do believe that if oil gets back down to below 70, we do think that there could be some sort of comments or some sort of action to come forth from OPEC. I don't really think they want oil under $70 a barrel, but at the moment we'll just continue to keep an eye on that. Oil just still has resistance here at 81.51, and there's a bit of a range still in play here between this level down at 71.30 up to 72.99, and then really that resistance up here at 81.83 down to 81.25 area 26, and it is quite sideways at the moment, so it does look like it's looking for some sort of guidance to get going. So we'll just touch on cryptos as well. They had a pretty solid week as well this week. So Bitcoin flirted with 24 yesterday. It was up there for a short period of time before the rally ran out of the puff, and we saw a move back down into the 23s. At the moment, it's been pretty stagnant today. We have a bit of a range in play on Bitcoin from 22,577 up to 23,826. So Ethereum as well. Look, all the coins really did see some sharp moves, some more than others. We are seeing a bit of selling at this stage today. Ethereum, like Bitcoin, is trading in a range between 1551.37 and upper resistance at 1663.40. It's been consolidating in that area for a bit of period of time. One that did make a few charges this week was Avalanche, and we can see here it excuse me, at one stage in the week it broke above this resistance point that was set back in the 9th of 2022. Some good moves there, but would really like to see if this trend that's running here, if it can continue, if we can see a move back up to or above really $30. So that would be a very strong move for Avalanche if it can do that in the future. And for now, we just want to see it hold above this area here, which is at 1582. Secondary support is just here at that high, and it's around that 1942 area. So we'd just like to see if this trend can remain in play. We're sure we're going to see another pullback, but we would like to see at a minimum sort of this area maybe hold, as noted before, that 15 point, and if buyers can sort of come back in and get the trend underway. Solana as well had a bit of a flat week as week. It had that beautiful rally up. We were maybe hoping to see if we could get a bit further, take a bit further more back after that FTX sell-off. It did try, but it continues to stall at that 26.51 area. There is some support down at 23.32, and we'll just need to see if Bice can get back up there and maybe make another attempt at trying to test the areas up at 30. Now, I know a lot of people are interested in Ripple. I won't cover every coin, but we will just have a quick look at Ripple. So Ripple hasn't done too much this week. We had 2 good days followed by a flat day, and Ripple continues to consolidate here with support and a range bottom at 0.38, and then that resistance up at 0.42. And yeah, so cryptocurrencies are showing some good signs. Some of the bigger key currencies are showing good signs. So BNB, for instance, it had a bit of a charge this week, but it hasn't really got back up to those levels that we saw reached back in November. But signs are good. Things are looking slightly more positive. This trend does continue to push, even if it is slowing up a bit now on Bitcoin. It's normal for uptrends to see periods of consolidation or even take retracements, but what we really wanted to see is new higher highs and higher lows, just to signal that the trend is still underway. So tonight we have more data coming out in the week that could have should have an influence, or could have an influence on the USD, also on US stocks, which could then spill over to other indexes. So we have some pretty key news. So being Friday, the first Friday of the month, if memory serves me right, we have the non-farm payrolls coming out, average earnings as well, and unemployment rate from the US, and lastly we have the ISM services PMI coming out. So the market's looking for 193k in payrolls. They're looking for 0.3 in average earnings to come in as expected with the last data, and they're looking for a slight increasement in unemployment to 3.6%. So with what's been going on now, I don't know if we had a real hot data. I don't know if the market's going to take that as a positive or a negative. If inflation is going down and it's no longer a concern, well, maybe it's a good sign to see that there's plenty of jobs being created. But we'll just have to wait and see how the figure comes out and how the market takes to that. After yesterday's fight back by the dollar, will we see further gains, or has this just been a one-day wonder, and will we see a new push lower after the data today? So definitely keep an eye out for that one, and I'll wrap the video up now. So thanks very much for your time. If you are enjoying our content, please feel free to subscribe. We have a lot of presenters during the week, and a lot of different opinions and takes on the market, so it should be something there for everyone to have a look at. Definitely keep an eye on the non-farm payrolls tonight. They're at 12:30 AM Australian Eastern Daylight Time. It's 8:30 AM US Eastern Standard Time, and we wish you have a great weekend. Thanks very much for your time and watching the video today, and good trading for the rest of the day, and until next week's updates, bye for now.